example of a genetic mutation or an evolutionary process which can be seen to increase the information in the genome?
Can you just stop one? I think.
I'm recording.
Okay. And that designer could well be a higher intelligence from elsewhere in the universe.
Our body is made up of trillions of cells. They all require energy to function. This energy is created within our cells, in the mitochondria. Here, food is converted into chemical energy called ATP. ATP is released by the mitochondria so cells can use it.
emerges from the crater floor. It's unlike anything geologists have seen on Mount St. Helens.
Now, spine doesn't do justice to these things. These things were like skyscrapers that were being shoved out of the ground. They were literally that big.
How could that be?
How could that be? That's right.
The things Mary was finding inside dinosaur bones,
Look at that.
blood vessels, and even what seemed to be intact cells, pose a radical challenge to the existing rules of science, that organic material can't possibly survive even 1,000,000 years, let alone 68 million. Mary, Jack, and their team published their B-Rex findings in a series of papers in the journal Science and were promptly attacked. Critics said their samples might have been contaminated, or that the supposed blood vessels were actually something called biofilm, a type of slime. But as Mary showed us, she's been able to replicate her findings. These are pieces of an even older dinosaur, a well-preserved 80-million-year-old duckbill. When she dissolved it away in acid...
Let's put this under the scope here.
Well, look. Is that a blood vessel?
This is a blood vessel.
You're
You
kidding.
see the branches right there? And look at all of them. And it's so consistent.
Looking at the mound from above, the iron deposits form a distinct pattern of intersecting lines, which Faso believes is a framework of the ark. From end to end, the lines measure 515 feet, or 300 cubits, the length of the ark as recorded in the Bible. The width averages 85 feet, or 50 cubits, which also corresponds to the biblical dimension.
Given the shape of the thing and the size of the thing and where they found it, I mean, if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck until somebody finds something else, what else could it possibly be but Noah's Ark?
sing hallelujah, we sing hallelujah, the Lamb has overcome. We sing hallelujah, we sing hallelujah, we sing
Takk skal dere ha. Vi skal diskutere helvete, fordi en ny helvetesdebatt i ferd med å blusse opp i landet. En radiodokumentar her i NRK nylig har satt søkelys på vår forståelse av helvete som et konkret fysisk pinested. Og ifølge en undersøkelse som ble gjort av Norstat og avisen Vårt Land for 1,5 år siden, tror 1 av 10 nordmenn nå på helvete, men meget få snakker om det. Men Gunhild Lem, du har nettopp skrevet en kronikk på ytring her i NRK, hvor du kritiserer noen helt navngitte predikanter for å snakke om helvete på en slik måte at folk kanskje blir redd?
Ja, det mange som snakker om helvete på en sånn måte som gjør at folk blir redd, ikke bare de som tør å stå frem i media med det.
Er det denne skremselen, denne frykten du særlig reagerer på, eller hva er det?
Altså det å si at du skal elske Gud av egen fri vilje, men hvis du ikke gjør det, så skal du pinnes i all evighet. Det er ikke så veldig fritt. Men altså jeg skjønner jo at jeg kan jo aldri komme igjennom til noen som tror så sterkt som det Torp her gjør. Men det er 3 andre grupper jeg gjerne vil skal høre det jeg har å si. Og det er jo for det første alle de som engstelige, som har samme angst som det jeg har hatt. Det går an å tro noe annet enn det...
Se her du, når du snakker om hvor mye lettere.
Ja, det går an å fortsette å tro på Gud, men tro noe annet om teksten. Og det går an å ikke tro.
A few years ago, with my colleague Emmanuel Charpentier, I invented a new technology for editing genomes. It's called CRISPR-Cas9. The CRISPR technology allows scientists to make changes to the DNA in cells that could allow us to cure genetic disease.
Is there a possible split happening in the science community about this? I mean, are we going to see some people holding back because they have ethical concerns and some others just going forward because some countries under-regulate or don't regulate at all?
Well, I think with any new technology, especially something like this, there are going to be a variety of viewpoints. And I think that's perfectly understandable. I think that in the end, this technology will be used for human genome engineering. I think that in the end, this technology will be used for human genome engineering. I think that in the end, this technology will be used for human genome engineering. I actually think that the first applications of the CRISPR technology are going to happen in the blood, where it's relatively easier to deliver this tool into cells compared to solid tissues. So, genome-engineered humans are not with us yet, but this is no longer science fiction. Genome-engineered animals and plants are happening right now. And this puts in front of all of us a huge responsibility to consider carefully both the unintended consequences as well as the intended impacts of a scientific breakthrough.
Peter, ska vi titta på bilder? Hur såg det ut när våra hjältar, Sara och Peter, fick chip instoppade i kroppen? Så här såg det i alla fall ut när Peter utsatte sig för detta. Hur kändes det, Peter?
Jag trodde det skulle kännas mer, Sara hade rätt, så att jag låtsades så jag hyperventilerade lite och sen så...
Kolla, du ser helt galen ut.
Implantable human chips. Supporters hail the technology as a medical marvel, but critics warn that the potential risks are real.
Well, they talked about, for example, electrical hazards. This thing is by no means inert. The way it works is it actually picks up and amplifies ambient electromagnetic energy from the reader devices. And if you have one of these things in your arm and you get within range of a powerful electromagnetic field, it can actually burn.
Kill you if you get out of line. A closer look at the who and the why behind this idea.
All right, this next story may sound like something out of, well, a Hollywood thriller. A Saudi inventor has created a killer microchip. It's designed to track terrorists and criminals and, well, you can think of somebody.
At some point, we're all going to have RFIDs. It might be even in our fingers, where they require it with everything on it.
Instead of carrying credit cards or money, we will probably be implanted with chips.
And now RFID microchips like this are being injected into humans.
I'm sorry, sir, did you just say you would get one implanted in your arm?
Absolutely, without a doubt. Our driver's license will be on the RFID chip. Our credit card number, all our information will be on this one chip.
So he goes in reluctantly, he's sort of persuaded to come back and at least just look at the thing. Looks at the x-rays, yes, there seems to be something there. So he decides to operate, he goes in. And to his absolute astonishment, what he discovers is a very small metallic implant. But over this implant, and this is obviously a magnification, I'll use my fist, is a secretion, a membrane of some sort. And he takes his scalpel and he tries to cut this membrane and he can't cut it. He then takes a forceps and goes in and yanks this thing out. And it comes out sometimes, he's done 16 of these things since, but it comes out sometimes in 2 or 3 pieces. What he's discovered is when you take these things out and you put them in a petri dish of the patient's blood, and you just let them, and the pieces are, let's say, separated by a half an inch or an inch, come back 24, 48 hours later, the pieces have tried to assemble themselves. How is that possible? These implants are giving out a clock speed of a frequency, which we believe is a sawtooth, which means it's a computer wave. It's a clock speed at 300 gigahertz, which is 100 times faster than the fastest computer we have on the planet. Inside these things are carbon nanotubes not found in nature. And other compartments, we have no idea what they're doing. But I asked Lear, I said, in your professional opinion, what do you think this implant is? And in sort of a gruff, and I'll do my best imitation, he goes, well, it's changing the person's DNA. But that's what he believes. And that
Did you hear that? It's literally going to change a person's DNA.
And what I will tell you is that there are we've made a lot of advances in wearables, but there's still some fundamental problems that we haven't solved. Like one of them is the mechanical mismatch between humans and electronics, right? So electronics are boxy and rigid, humans are curvy and soft. That's a mechanical mismatch problem. Well, a researcher at the University of Illinois, his name is Dr. Rogers, what he discovered is that he could use standard CMOS techniques to make islands of high-performance silicon connected by accordion-like structures that would allow it to stretch up to 200% and still be performing. And what he did is he founded a company and they started making electronic tattoos. So I'm wearing one here on my arm.
Do we have a camera to get a...
This is a developmental system made by MC10, and it has an antenna and some sensors embedded in it. And what we plan to do is work with them to advance a tattoo that could be used for authentication. Now, it may be true that 10 to 20-year-olds don't want to wear a watch on their wrist, but you can be sure that they'll be far more interested in wearing an electronic tattoo, if only to piss off their parents. Right?
And that can have a design, right? Because they would certainly want some kind of cool design.
Options,
right?
options.
Well, biometric tattoos are raising the bar in wearable technology. And here to fill us in on the who, what, where, when, and why is our very own Lionel of Lionel Media. Hello, sir. Can you tell us what direction is this going with the biometrics and the tattoos? These things aren't easy to take off. What's your opinion on them?
Eventually, what's happening is that we are being led bit by bit through, to use the Skinnerian term, from shaping, through the successive approximation to ultimately having within our bodies an RFID chip. Then one day, God forbid, not you, one day when people are found guilty of, let's say, crimes, they're not going to be put into the Hoosgow, the pokey. No, their chip is going to be turned off and poof, they don't exist anymore. That's where all of this is going.